Hey everyone, with fall coming, seems like a good time to have this discussion, and we're going to be comparing two tractors here today, the John Deere 420 on the right, and of course the John Deere 445 on the left. Now a lot of this is going to apply from the 445 to the 425 as well. Obviously the 455 is the diesel, so just follow along the best you can here, but here we go. So both are really good machines, first off. One is air cooled, one is liquid cooled. One has a high-low range, the other one does not. The top speed on the 420 is getting upwards of 9 to 10 miles an hour, where the top speed on the 445 is around 7 miles per hour. On the 420, that is in high range and low range. The speed on the 420 is a little bit slower than the top speed on the 445. And honestly, those are probably some of the biggest differences besides the liquid-cooled to air-cooled engine. Both have 26-12-12 rear tires on them. Obviously, one's ag, one is turf, but they come either way. Both have really strong front ends. When you get to the hydraulics, that's where you have another major difference. So obviously, on the 445, you only have the two-speed hydraulic or two-function hydraulic system on it, where on the 420, you have a three separate systems of hydraulics, or three-way hydraulic system. So obviously one lowers the deck, but then you also have 4 quick disconnects up front with 2 separate functions. On the mowing deck drive system for the 420, you'll notice you have 2 pulleys in there, and that drives the mowing deck. Let me get down here, from basically the front into your gearbox. On the 420, it is not, and I should have dropped the deck down and got these leaves out of the way. But if you can see back there, it is actually ran from where the rear axle is. Also, you'll notice that on the 445, that the diff lock is on the left side versus the right side on the 420. And that's because your controls for the 420 are up here, just like a 318 or other similar generation John Deere's, where of course you have the foot controls, which is very nice on the 445. Obviously your parking brake is up here. You have a little tab for your parking brake, a little lever here on the 420s. Most of the other controls are the same. You have a low pressure indicator, oil pressure indicator, a battery amperage indicator. Same thing on the 445, but you also gain, obviously, a temperature gauge and an actual fuel level gauge on the dash, which is nice. Both have electric PTOs, both have headlights and taillights, of course. And that's kind of where a lot of the similarities and differences kind of compare. Now, for the rear ends, this is one that's open for debate. Both have massive Gordon tractor rear ends rated for ground engagement. Sorry, I've got my lights hanging down here because I just had the fuel tank out on this one. Both are pretty sturdy rear ends. The difference on the 420 you're going to find is independent external brakes, where you just have one brake on the 445 and 425 that is internal. I think the 455 is similar. And of course, there's your independent controls. Now, when we get into the fun stuff, big, massive 780cc Onan. Yes, I know that fuel filter is very dirty. That's the one I have on there after I changed out the tank. It was on there before, and that's while the tank was pulled. This is a solid engine. The big thing is keep your side panels and everything on, because they're meant to draw air basically through the length of the engine, almost like a funnel or a tunnel ram system. People will remove these. You'll get a lot of walnuts down under the heat shields, and that will block. You've got to have good airflow for these to stay cool. But these P220 Onans are beasts. I mean, you have a 780cc-ish air-cooled engine. They're rated at about 20 horsepower, but they feel like a much stronger engine than that, in my opinion. Because I've seen these 420s with 60-inch decks, and people have no problem mowing with them. going back, and this one's actually very low hours. It's only 477 hours on this one. This one's getting ready to go probably tomorrow. Now when we get over to the 445, excuse me with the camera because I'm going to do this with one hand. To open the hood, you got to pull it forward and up. And we have the Kawasaki. Don't quote me on the cc's, but I think this is 670 cc's. So quite a bit smaller than the Onan. However, I will tell you from my personal experience, since both these have, I think they're 52 or 54 inch mowing decks, this one has more power, and this one has 3 times the hours of that one. I say that because these have, I want to say it's like 10 to 1 compression versus that, which is probably around 7.5 to 1. Fuel injection, of course, and the fuel injection is very nice on this, and of course the liquid cooled. This thing is a monster. I mowed the same field with both of these, and I will tell you that this 445, in fact, will outmow that 420, despite having 3 times the hours on it. That's just my personal opinion. Take it for what it is, but these fuel-injected Kawasaki's are a beast. Now, I would love to have a 455, so if anybody wants to donate one, I'll be happy to take it on. However, 455s are kind of really hard to find. They're really expensive when you do find them. They're absolutely great machines. I mean, you have a big liquid-cooled diesel engine under the hood. What more could you want? Some other cool features about the 445 that the 425 doesn't have, or sorry, let me go back. The 445 has that the 420 doesn't have. The adjustable seat. So yes, the 420, you can adjust the seat. You just have to simply pick up the seat, undo these little wing nut things, slide it forward and back. This one actually has just a simple auto adjustment. You know, plot it over while you're sitting in the seat, move it up and down. Not a big deal unless you have multiple operators, which we do. Something I did not think would come in handy that I use all the time now. This bad boy, this little compartment for putting your phone in, or if I'm out doing something for the cross-country course, I'll have a can of paint in here, things like that. It just makes it so much more convenient. The adjustment for the height. So once you set your anti-scalping wheels up, it's really simple. Another feature, so those use just regular, like almost like a Carter pin or a quick disconnect pin to adjust the height. These are actually on springs. So you don't need to have pliers or anything. You just pop them out, adjust them, kind of convenient. But your deck adjustment. So to adjust your height, for if you're changing your height on a course or something like that, all you're gonna do is raise your deck all the way up and then just spin it left or right. And then you've even got an indicator here. So a lot of times when we're mowing courses, we may be down here, unless we have an area that we really have to get short, and then we'll lower it down all the way down to even past low sometimes. And it works really well. I mean, just those quick, you don't even have to get off the tractor to adjust your height. And that is freaking awesome. It's a feature I definitely love. Not knocking the 420 because it's an awesome system as well, but the 425, 455, and 445 just have a much better system. Now, some people are going to argue between these two that the one on the left is heavier duty than the one on the right, meaning the 420 and the 430 are going to be more heavy duty than your 445 and your 455. I honestly don't know if that's true or not. First off, if you're looking at the rear ends, they're both pretty comparable. I mean, I'd have to actually get out and measure the axle tubes. I think the 420 might have slightly bigger axle tubes in diameter, but when you get over here, you'll notice that the 445 has all this extra webbing and stuff. And I mean, I just know from differentials that webbing makes a lot of strength difference. I'm not convinced that the tough torque is any weaker, and I want to say this is a tough torque. I think it's a K91 or something like that. It's not a small differential, considering that the K, I think it's the 62, is rated for ground engagement. Anything over a 60 or 62 is going to get the job done just fine, especially unless you're doing something really, really crazy. Also, this is going to be open for debate, but if you're going to do loader work, if you're going to put a front end loader on these, the foot controls make a world of difference. You could probably get by running the loader with a 420 or a 430, but that hand control is going to make it a lot more difficult. Overall, you can't go wrong with either of these machines. Also, the 445, 425s, they have the higher back seat. I don't know if you can really tell, but the seat on the 420 is much lower. Of course, you can always change that out. But yeah, guys, overall, you can't go wrong with either of these tractors. They both will work and do pretty much everything you could ask of them. Personally, I really like the 445 in the newer series. I do kind of miss the high-low range on the 420, but that's mainly because I typically mow in low range on the 420. Our property is very hilly. We have almost 5 acres. It is really rough and hard on mowers, and there's no way I'm mowing grass at 10 miles an hour. So let's be honest. Generally, I'm in low range with throttle, obviously throttle's all the way up and my speed close to full, and I'm cruising along at like 6 miles an hour, and that's plenty fast to mow at, in my opinion. Now, of course, if you've got a big flat field that's really nicely manicured, maybe you disagree, and that's fine. It's so situational. But anyway, we do have new wheels coming for this one. You'll notice that this one is actually misplaced. I'm not sure what that's off, but it's not the correct wheel for this deck. You see how close this is to the tire. So we have the correct assembly coming for this, and 4 new tires, because all the rubber has come off these. I guess that's another nice feature, is these have plastic with rubber over them, which, okay, I guess for noise, if you're going to be on asphalt or something, that's kind of cool. Where these are solid rubber, and I have replaced all the wheels on this one. But anyway, this one is probably going to a new home tomorrow. We're working out a trade for a guy. He's got a Miller 300D welder. I'm really excited about it. We'll probably be replacing the 225 once we get it set up and running. Not that I'm a Lincoln or Miller fan, it's just if I can go from a 225 gas to a 350 diesel, I'm going to do it. So hopefully we'll have more on that on the channel coming soon. Sorry, it's been crazy between sicknesses and coaching cross country and everything else we got going on. It has been insane, but thank you guys for watching this. I really do appreciate it. We're over 1,000 subscribers now, which is awesome. I've got a bunch of content coming if we can stay healthy. As always, guys, be safe. I hope this helps somebody out here if you're trying to determine between these two. This is just my opinion. Please don't get upset about it. I know there's some diehard 400 and 420 guys out there, and I've had both a 400, a 420, a 314, and of course the 445 now. So I can tell you that so far the 445 has been my favorite, but I know if I could get a 455, I would definitely be into it. Anyway, as always, be safe. Thank you guys all the way.